Well, I do think the Sussex Overdrive is unbelievable. But I mean, I don't think that he is going to get back in.
It is interesting how she's exposing her as a yacht girl, someone who was paid off by rich men to go and hang out.
Which showed that he is very commercially minded, which we'll get into later on, which makes it impossible for him. And of course, Meghan wouldn't come back to Britain.
I choose people whose lives are shrouded in mystery and they've climbed the greasy pole. They want to be famous, they want to be influential, they want to be powerful.
Is that Meghan has got no real income anymore. She's finished.
Right.
The Netflix series is over. There's no great podcast. They don't generate any money. And I don't see where she is going from here. I think she has a major problem.
Meghan Markle likely spent time with Prince Andrew and Jeffrey Epstein before she even met Prince Harry.
They want to hide their secrets, and I just love digging away to find out what they don't want us to know. It was Meghan speaking, and now we know it's Meghan speaking again. And so this isn't because the book contains...
She flirts openly with other men.
That her brand was in great trouble. American Riviera Orchard, that she had allegedly nicked the idea. She wanted wealth and she wanted fame. And she targeted, there's no doubt she targeted Harry. And that was very critical because at that moment last year, she was about to promote her Netflix series and didn't want to firstly be seen with Harry, and secondly didn't want to go somewhere where she'd appear cheap.
Well, and also saying all that work to do in Africa, which he dedicated his life to, but prefers now to paddle in the Pacific in Santa Monica.
Right.
Or Monsignor. Well, he does it because he needs a profile. That's the only way they can get money, by showing the profile. And for Netflix, everything is built around the future documentary series to promote the Sussexes.
Declining. I think that his reputation is somewhat toxic. And I think Invictus is his only lifeline. And that's what she used as a weapon at the time. So there were quite a few things about her personal life. I'll work them into another book, I think. Meghan didn't like the surname Mountbatten Windsor. If you remember, in her first lifestyle series with Meghan with them forever, she says to Carling that her surname isn't Markle but Sussex. And she was desperate to get it. She said, we never had a proper surname, and of course they did.
Telling the palace what she's going to do. And I think the most interesting story is the Reitman story. Reitman's is like a Marks and Spencer's in Canada.
She was warned before she married what the nature of being Harry's wife and part of the royal family would be, and the nature of how she ignored all that advice for two reasons. One is she really did believe she could do what she wanted. And secondly, I don't believe she ever intended to stay. She always intended to take the title, take the connections and get back to California.
What if everything you were sold about this so-called royal love story was never more than a glossy illusion, polished to perfection and sprayed with glitter so thick no one could see the cracks underneath? What if the fairy tale wasn't real, not even close, but a carefully staged performance meant to hypnotize millions until the lies became impossible to hide? Because when you really peel back the layers of the Meghan Markle and Prince Harry saga, what you find isn't grace, honesty, or some modern love miracle. What you find is a brand choking on its own contradictions, a constant storm of drama, and scandals so loud and shameless they make Hollywood's worst messes look tame by comparison. This wasn't destiny, this was design. And now that design is falling apart in public, piece by painful piece. The truth is, this story never had the calm elegance people wanted to believe in. From the start, it was chaos, wrapped in victimhood, outrage packaged as activism, and emotional performances played on repeat. Every time they spoke, the narrative shifted. Every time the spotlight dimmed, a new controversy magically appeared. And suddenly, people started asking the one question no amount of PR could silence anymore. If this is all so genuine, why does it feel so rehearsed?
The truth, I spoke to very few friends of Meghan because she put a fatwa on anyone talking to me who she could. So I sent off dozens and dozens of emails to her friends, and most of them didn't even reply.
Meghan didn't just want to be Diana too. She wanted the crown, the tears, the attention, the headlines, without earning any of the quiet dignity Diana carried. Instead, she turned herself into the Duchess of non-stop drama, chasing sympathy like a reality show star who knows the only way to stay on screen is another meltdown. And Harry. Music, once a proud soldier, now looks like Meghan's PR shadow. And that's where the discomfort really sinks in. Because this was never about honoring Diana, it was about wearing her image like a costume and demanding the world applaud. Diana had authenticity, pain that wasn't staged, compassion that didn't need a camera. Meghan wanted the emotion without the sacrifice, the adoration without the humility. And Harry? The man who once carried himself with pride, discipline, and quiet strength now trails behind her, nodding, echoing, defending, as if his entire identity has been folded neatly into her brand strategy.
Harry, his heart seems to have softened, or there's been some sort of evolution. So I do think you're right that a lot of us were kind of caught off guard by the Prince Andrew decision, because we had grown accustomed to cuddly Charles, Grandpa Charles, with the grandkids in his lap. And when I saw the news, I thought, I don't know if I'll ever see anything like this again in my lifetime, but maybe I will because of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle.
Repeating the same victim lines like he's stuck on autopilot. This isn't a love story anymore. It's a Netflix-style soap opera spinning out of control, led by two people who don't even notice the audience already walked away. And now, Tom Bower isn't just lifting the curtain. He's ripping it down piece by piece, exposing secrets Meghan hoped would die quietly. The yacht girl whispers the contradictions from Meghan's own mouth. The obsession with Diana's ghost, chasing a crown she was never meant to wear. Harry, being a simple soul, has easily changed to suit Meghan's agenda. But here's the wild twist no one dares to say out loud. Meghan and Harry aren't rebels fighting the system. They've become the system's biggest scandal. They're not battling the monarchy. They're using it, twisting it with staged pain, fake drama, music, and non-stop PR tricks to make money off the same institution they claim destroyed them. And the more they talk, the less people believe them, because the act is clearly falling apart. That's the part no one wants to admit. This isn't rebellion. This is exploitation. They didn't escape the monarchy, they monetized it. Every complaint became content. Every tear turned into a paycheck. And the louder they screamed about being wronged, the clearer it became that something didn't add up. Because real trauma doesn't need constant reminders. Real pain doesn't demand a new documentary every time the applause fades.
He does not want to inherit a mess. He wants the stables cleaned. He wants Andrew out. And coming on to Harry and Meghan, I think for them now in Montecito, there's a moment of grave concern, because stripping the royal family of titles was unheard of in our lifetimes and for hundreds of years.
But what Tom Bower just revealed pushes this whole mess into a darker, more shocking place than anyone expected. From day one, Meghan's obsession with Princess Diana wasn't admiration, it was strategy. While the world loved Diana for her real compassion and tragic life, Meghan treated her like a script for a role she wanted to steal. Bower shows her not as a fan, but as a student. Every head tilt, every hand pose, every perfectly timed tear, Meghan studied it like homework, trying to copy and paste Diana into her own image. And when you hear that, everything suddenly clicks. This wasn't coincidence. This wasn't accidental resemblance. This was method acting taken to an unsettling extreme. Diana wasn't a memory to be respected. She was a blueprint to be replicated. And the tragedy is that imitation stripped away everything that made Diana special in the first place. Listen, I brought me Meghan Markle, whatever her name is, to my deal or no deal celebrity golf tournament. That in the end, nothing beats the truth, the real facts. She was one of my deal or no deal girls that were, she was a caddy for all of my celebrities. So when Meghan came along into the scene, I just thought, this is fascinating. How is this going to play out? But here's the brutal truth. No one can fake forever. Real emotion can't be rehearsed. Authentic grief can't be scheduled. And the more she tried to perform vulnerability, the more people sensed the acting. The sympathy she chased turned into skepticism. And Harry, instead of guarding his mother's legacy, handed it over like a prop, allowing it to be reshaped, repackaged, and sold. Diana wasn't family in this narrative. She was branding. Well, you can't ignore them if they keep popping up doing stuff like this. That's the thing. We're kind of in a mutually abusive, toxic relationship, aren't we? The media and Harry and Meghan, because they keep doing stuff wanting attention. Then they get quite adverse reaction most of the time. Then they react really badly to the reaction, and so it goes on. Well, what it really boils down to is the threat they offer. Music, if the threat was punctured, which I hope my book will do, that wasn't a tribute. Music, that was marketing. That line hits hard because it's true. It wasn't respect, it was marketing. And the moment people saw through it, the magic shattered. What was meant to look iconic came off as desperate. Diana's memory wasn't honored, it was diluted, cheapened, turned into a gimmick. And once that line was crossed, there was no turning back. Who she could use and who could serve her purposes. She did want him because she then was promoted from an unknown actress into a global star. And that's where the story grows darker. Because the Diana obsession was only the beginning. Behind the staged compassion and carefully curated feminism lies a trail of rumors Meghan would erase from the internet if she could. The yacht whispers, the blurry photos, the luxury trips with powerful men. Bauer doesn't soften it. He doesn't dress it up. He drags it into the light and lets people draw their own conclusions. These weren't innocent vacations. They were networking opportunities in the most transactional sense. And then get a sort of success. Not just people like Meghan, but also often very controversial and inverted comma criminal businessmen or politicians and all the other people I've written or the music people. It was charm, access, and strategic connections. She didn't climb Hollywood through talent alone. She floated upward on access. And later, she tried to rewrite history, selling a fairy tale about hustle and hard work. But stories have a way of unraveling when too many people remember the truth. What I discovered was, of course, that she was hunting for a man in England from 2013, and she wanted wealth and she wanted fame, and there's no doubt she targeted Harry. And Harry knew. He knew the rumors existed. He just chose not to look too closely. Love, charm, and flattery can blind even a prince. And once inside the palace, the contradictions exploded. One moment she barely knew who he was. The next, she studied him like a fan, plotting her move. You can't be innocent and calculating at the same time, no matter how hard you try to sell it. Which one is it? Innocent outsider or mastermind operator? You can't be both. But she tried, and Harry played along, nodding obediently as the story shifted. Every interview chipped away at credibility. Every speech felt less sincere. The cracks widened, and the world noticed. And then they put out pictures of Lily, but you see her half covered, but what you see is Meghan. Because even motherhood became part of the strategy. Sympathy deployed on schedule. Children positioned like shields whenever criticism grew too loud. Bauer paints a chilling picture of calculation where innocence becomes a tool, not something to protect. Hollywood saw it, the palace saw it, the public felt it, deals vanished, smiles disappeared. Invitations dried up. Because Hollywood doesn't protect pretenders, it abandons them. Netflix didn't fail, Spotify didn't fail, Meghan and Harry failed, and that's the truth that stings the most. Opportunities weren't stolen from them. They wasted them. Complaints replaced creativity, therapy talk replaced substance, and the industry moved on. Meghan hasn't just lost Hollywood's support, she's radioactive. But perhaps the darkest revelation is control. Harry, once independent, now looks managed, scripted, reduced to repeating grievances on cue. A prince turned into an accessory. That's not love. That's control dressed up as romance. And the price? Harry's identity, his family, his purpose, hollowed out and rebranded, that Meghan never really intended to stay. When sympathy ran out, the empire collapsed. What began as fascination turned into exhaustion. The Oprah interview now feels exaggerated. The Netflix series revealed more bitterness than bravery. The mask slipped, and there was no saving it. Meghan Markle isn't the modern Diana she dreamed of becoming. She's the cautionary tale, the warning, the example of what happens when ambition devours authenticity. Strip away the glamour, the staged tears, the endless spin, and what's left isn't rebellion or empowerment. It's desperation, clinging to relevance. Their story was never a fairy tale, it was a performance. And now the curtain has fallen. And the saddest part in all of this is how predictable the ending became. Once the applause died down, once the sympathy dried up, once the cameras stopped feeling friendly, there was nothing left to hide behind. No palace to blame, no press to scream at. Just two people staring at the wreckage of a story they overplayed. Meghan thought she could endlessly rewrite reality, that if she repeated something enough times, it would harden into truth. But reality doesn't bend forever. Eventually, it snaps back hard. Harry looks lost now, like someone who burned every bridge, believing there would always be another one waiting. The anger in his eyes doesn't look revolutionary anymore. It looks tired, bitter, like regret he doesn't know how to admit out loud. And Meghan? She keeps pushing forward, smiling through clenched teeth, clinging to relevance with carefully staged appearances that feel emptier every time. The confidence looks forced. The control looks frantic. What once felt like power now feels like panic. Every move screams, "Please don't forget me." Every appearance feels like a test the world has already graded. And the grade isn't kind. The tragedy isn't just the fall. It's the refusal to accept it. Instead of stepping back, reflecting, rebuilding something real, they double down. Louder claims, bigger victimhood, same old script, but the audience is gone. The fairy tale has expired. And no amount of branding, no recycled Diana imagery, no carefully timed emotional confession can bring it back. This isn't a story about love anymore. It's a lesson, a loud, messy warning about what happens when image replaces truth, when ambition outruns integrity, and when the spotlight finally turns cold.